Hello and welcome back to Andy's FPL Apprentice. The international break is finally over, so we are back with our Game Week 9 team selection video. If you're enjoying the videos, then please consider giving us a like, subscribing to the channel, all of that usual stuff that we massively appreciate. And without further ado, we'll jump straight into it. I'm joined, as usual, by the handsome William. How you doing, buddy?
Very good, thank you. How are you, bud?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. So what I like about you is that you really run your own race. Like, you don't let other things sway you. You're fully committed. We spoke
Individual.
You are, yeah. We spoke for quite a while about possibly wildcarding last week, about potential transfers with you. Do you want to fill the viewers in on what you decided to do in the end?
What I wanted, what I had decided to do was very different to what actually happened. Long story short, I forgot to check the fixtures, didn't realise there were games on Friday until they were being played, and then just couldn't make my changes and had to watch as just everybody scored probably 3 times as many points as I did.
I wasn't that bad.
I mean, I got about 39, and I think the people around me were in the 60s. So it was, it's twice as much. So yeah, but it was painful.
It's a tough one. Well, if it helps you, I got 55 points off my wildcard team. Saturday night, I was feeling really, really pleased with myself. Quickly going through my team. Pope only got 2, but Trippier came in with an assist for winning the penalty. A little lucky, but that's what you get if you put 100 crosses in a game. One of them happened to get a handball from it. Also, I saw he wanted to take the penalty, and Isaac's basically like pull rank. But interested to see he's in contention on penalties. 2 for Kufal and 9 from Cancelo. Midfield wasn't expecting much from Andreas, but gotta say, like, when Fulham are scoring goals, it's disappointing to see that Pereira and Mitrovic got nothing. Bowen 2, I'm worried about that choice. Maddison was great in the Spurs game, and that was one of the reasons I was feeling good Saturday night, because their defence looks like a disaster, but going forward, Maddison created a ton of chances. Like, really could have had more points there.
I had Maddison late in last season, and yeah, everything seems to go through him. So.
Yeah. Martinelli with just 3. Kane probably should have captained, to be honest. I think it was the better call on paper, but it's just I couldn't commit to going against Haaland, and I'll probably stay with that. But 10 from Kane, like I say, 2 from Mitrovic, and 12 from Haaland with the captain's armband on him. But yeah, when we went into the Sunday and I still had like West Ham players to play and Arsenal players, I sort of thought, like, I could be on for a really good score here. And yeah,
just didn't peak.
Yeah, so it's slightly above average, and it's a little green arrow, which is good, but it's not great. But then I did a wildcard team that included 2 players that I was immediately going to bench in James and Zaha because they didn't have games. So I'm still pretty pleased with the team going forward.
I mean, I can whiz through this very quickly. The only positive in my team was I had a decent 3-man defence. 9 from Cancelo, 5 from Trippier, and 6 from White. Nothing from Ward, rubbish. Martinelli, you've already mentioned, with 3, and Mitrovic. I also had Haaland as captain as 12, and Tony had a quiet week with 2. And that's it. That's my entire team.
Yeah, 3 no-playing players are going to hurt, yeah, and Ward is just looking like an absolute... I've seen some people suggest going for the Ward and Iverson double up on Leicester for keepers because it's so cheap. And
yeah, but
Ward has got so far this season, he's played every single game, 8 games. He's got a total of 8 points. That is staggeringly low.
Yeah, it's atrocious.
I don't know how he can keep his place, to be honest, because he seems incapable of making a save. But yeah, I went for Iverson on wildcard as my backup keeper, who I'm never planning on playing. But just that was in case.
Ward was never really meant to play.
Yeah.
Just circumstances.
Oh, I still think he's. I mean, he's a playing £4 million keeper. He's good for those emergencies, but yeah, he's the Leicester defence. God, it looks bad. So next week, I've just wildcarded, so I'm not planning on making any changes. I will very quickly mention. There were a couple of things in my team that. So I felt like I made a lot of punts on wildcard, and some of them I'm really pleased with, and some of them I'm less convinced. Like Bowen was disappointed again. It's not just the points, but like his underlying stats are kind of looking poor. And the fixtures are really good for the next three, like Wolves at home, Fulham at home, Southampton away. So I'm still sort of hopeful he might turn it around, but he's not showing the sort of the shoots of like rejuvenation that I wanted.
Yeah.
Like I say, though, Maddison felt like a punt, and he looked really good. And Kufal, I'm sort of still fairly pleased with, despite the fact that West Ham, lost and conceded, obviously to Everton.
Part and parcel.
Yeah, it didn't look like they gave up too many chances in that game. So I think defensively they still look all right, and he's good value for money. I sort of wish I hadn't doubled up on Newcastle in defence, because looking forward, it's not that I still think Trippier's a great option. I still think Pope's probably the best keeper, but the fixtures that they've got probably means I'm just going to end up benching Trippier quite a lot, because I'm not convinced enough that they're going to get a clean sheet that I want to double up. So that's my kind of thoughts on my wild card, but I'm not going to make any changes this week. The only thing that I'm likely to do, Zaha and James will both be coming back into my team, which means that Pereira will drop to the bench, and it's likely that Trippier will probably drop to the bench as well. Like, it's not the most difficult fixture in the world. They've got Fulham away, but Fulham have been scoring goals. It's not really their defence that's the
issue, yeah.
Yeah, the major issue. And sorry, their attack, that's the major issue.
So, yeah.
And West Ham have got Wolves at home, who've got one of the worst attacks in the league, so it seems a bit daft to be benching him. So likelihood is that I'll make no changes, but Zaha and James will come into the first 11, and we'll see Pereira and Trippier drop to the bench.
Well, my team is obviously exactly the same as it was beforehand. For this week, I've gone down to a 3-man defence again, actually, with Cancelo, Trippier, and James. I think Arsenal are playing Tottenham this weekend. I just feel like there's always goals in that derby. So as White has been a good point scorer for me, but I'm sort of banking on there maybe being a few goals in that game. That's allowed me to put Gross, Martinelli, Salah, and Zaha across the middle. I'm still pretty happy with that midfield. The question of Salah keeps coming up. Obviously, Son had a very good game last weekend. Last game week. And the question is whether to cash in Salah now. I don't know. But across the front, I've got Mitrovic, Tony, and Haaland. I haven't seen a convincing reason not to continue to pick Haaland as captain just yet.
Yeah, agreed. I got rid of Salah, obviously, on wildcard, but I don't think... I think Salah being off the pace is being overplayed. Like, he's not been poor. He's just not been hitting the heights of last season.
Yeah.
But I got rid of him because the next 4 fixtures looked pretty tough for them, and obviously when I got rid of him, it included a blank. So I basically swapped him for Kane and relied on the fact that over those 4 fixtures, Kane would outscore him, and because Kane got 10 last week, he's got a 10-point head start. So yeah. I think it's pretty likely that that's going to stay. Without the blank, I could see in the next 3 fixtures they're being fairly similar, even though Tottenham's fixtures are nicer. Like Liverpool have got Brighton at home, Arsenal away, and then Man City at home, which are tough. But like, I'm going to be watching those fixtures, kind of worried about not owning Salah, so I won't worry too much about still having him. You obviously have 2 transfers, and you also have your wild card still left.
Yes.
What are your thoughts towards that?
Well, the obvious personnel change would be Norgard, who remains injured. I just haven't managed to rotate him out yet. I don't have any specific thoughts. I was wondering if you had any suggestions on an upgrade to Norgard.
Yeah, so I agree. Like, I think that's the obvious one. I think you need to make a decision about when you're going to wildcard.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was me, I would wildcard in game week 13. Because game week 12, like, there are risks involved in this as well, but game week 12 is when the City Arsenal game is on. And you currently have 4 players that'll be missing.
Yeah.
And what will you have? 2, 3, 4. You've got 5 transfers until then, so you've got plenty of time to
rotate it out.
Yeah, you've got plenty of time to fix your team before then. But Arsenal's fixtures over that little short period of time are not amazing. They've got Tottenham, Liverpool, Leeds away is pretty decent, and then the blank. And I mean, City's fixtures aren't as good as they possibly could be. They've got Man City at home, Southampton away. You won't want to miss any City players for that. But and then Liverpool away. I think I mentioned it on the last video that if you wildcarded in 13, you can dead end your team into that. And what I mean by that is you could actually take out all of those players if you wanted, or at least some of them. Like, I wouldn't take out Haaland because you'd lose so much value on him. Like, he's risen so much in price that it's not worth it. You'd lose 0.3, 0.4 million for it. But I don't see why you couldn't, over the next few game weeks, look at taking out White, Martinelli, and Cancelo.
Yeah.
And then bring them all back in on wildcard on 13 if you want them going forward. So this is a roundabout way of answering your question, but for me, I really like the look of Maddison, and it is naming somebody who's already in my team. But if I was you, I would look at getting rid of Norsgaard to bring in Maddison, and that's a massive price difference, so you would need to save the money somewhere else. And personally, I would look at the Arsenal guys first. Like, you're benching White anyway this week.
Yeah.
And they've got Liverpool next week. So you're going to bench him again?
No. Yeah, well, that's fairly convincing. Yeah.
So so you're literally keeping him in the team for the next 4 game weeks to just play him in the Leeds away game. That said, he's cheap, so you're not going to save enough money off just downgrading White to be able to get.
How much is White currently worth?
4.6, I think. 4.5.
Yeah, as you say, it's so Cancelo and James are the big money, but
they are. But you could still look at. So if you're going to, at the moment, Anderson sits on your bench a lot, so there isn't any reason why you couldn't downgrade White to
a lot.
Yeah, to like a 3.9.
Yeah, and just to upgrade Anderson to the full team.
Yeah, if Patterson hadn't just got injured from Everton, I would have said definitely Patterson, because I think he was a good option, but he's injured now, so not one. But yeah, I'd consider downgrading White this week, pushing Anderson up, and then next week potentially getting rid of Martinelli and Norsgaard and getting in, and then that would give you the money to bring in Maddison. But it's not a very complete plan, but that's what I would be thinking if I was you. And yeah, I'd consider getting rid of Cancelo game week 12 probably as well, like keeping him in until then, get rid of him for game week 12, knowing that you're just going to wildcard him back in anyway.
Yeah, I mean, with the fixtures as they be, that makes a lot of sense.
So if you were to do that, then your starting 11 would look much the same for next week, but you would free up a little bit more cash. You'd give yourself a little bit of flexibility. You'd still have, you'd still have Norsgaard sat on the bench, but you'd still have 2 transfers. So the following week, you'd, be able to, you'd be able to make the double then, and and yes, still give you the availability, like I say, to possibly get rid of Cancelo as well before the game week 13, and you'll just go in. Before game week 12, and you'll just go into it in a much stronger position than most people. Because for me, I've got Martinelli and Cancelo and Haaland as well. Like, I've got a ton of value wrapped up in Martinelli as well as Haaland because I've had him since the start of the season. So the only one I can really consider getting rid of is Cancelo, and I might end up doing that, but it's a waste of a transfer because it's a waste of two really because I've got to take him out for one game week and bring him back in the week after if I want him. So it leaves you in a way stronger position than most people.
Might be what I need to recover.
I mean, look, you're still in a really strong position overall. Like, your rank is, just outside the top 500,000. That's still an excellent rank.
588,000 and odd.
Yeah. So that's it for our Game Week 9 team selection video. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments what you think about any of our potential choices for Game Week 9. What do you like? What do you not like about them? And we'll be back with another video. So we'll see you there.